and congratulations for your event, dear doctors. I want to thank most of all Dr. Venkatesh for inviting me to this event. I know how eagerly all of you were waiting and preparing for this event. Congratulations to Tamil Nadu Ophthalmic Association, the president and all the members of the association for the 66th annual TNOA conference. There are a lot of thoughts crossing my mind. What is it that I share with you? I have had some very interesting experiences as Lieutenant Governor for now last 2 years, particularly with the deemed universities. Very interesting experiences. They will be part of my book one day, but you'll have to wait for that. I think the feeling of what is it to be a doctor begins with education. Begins with the way we educate our students, the manner in which they begin their profession, the cost at which they begin, the struggles with which they begin, the hassles with which they begin. It's not a smooth entry at all. It's a very, very heavy price. In one form or the other, every doctor pays to enter this very prestigious medical. It's such an important medical profession. How privileged each one of you is in having given sight all your life. You add light to every life. How privileged you are. It's the intention with which also you serve. God gives you great result for that. But is the result, what is that result? Is very, very vital. So I said I have very interesting experiences to recount my relationships with the deemed universities of Puducherry. And they're very, very challenging and they're very experienced learning. But as I said, you'll have to wait for the narration one day. You are attended today, as I'm told by Dr. Venkatesh, by 1,400 ophthalmologists and 500 trade delegates. That's a very remarkable number. This year marks your 200 years of modern ophthalmology in India, as has been said by my predecessor speakers, both president, incoming and outgoing, and the emeritus doctors. The remarkable history begins with the government ophthalmic hospital in Madras, Chennai, the second oldest eye hospital in the world. I see a lot of visitors coming for ophthalmology to India and this part of the world. Many times when the visitors come to Rajnivas, I ask them, what for are you coming? They've come all the way, Indians from United States of America, also for ophthalmology because of the kind of quality and assured service you provide. I want to congratulate you, the entire region, for having instilled this faith in the minds and hearts of the people. Some of the best eye care hospitals in India, as I said, are located in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. To name a few, the Arvind Eye Care system, which I've experienced on a regular basis, both in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. The Shankara Nethrale is a legendary in Chennai, Shankara Eye Care Hospital in Coimbatore, and Joseph Eye Hospital in Trichy, and many more. The total number of cataract surgeries in India in the year 2015 and 16 was 62.3 lakhs. Of these, Tamil Nadu, which has been a pioneer in tackling blindness, particularly arising from cataract, has performed 5,23,131 cataract operations. Puducherry having 14,566 cataract surgeries. The cataract surgery rate per million population in the year 2015-16 for India was 5,147. Whereas the same for Tamil Nadu was 7,253, and for Puducherry 11,747. Major manufacturers of ophthalmic consumables such as Apasami and Eurolab are located in Tamil Nadu. They play a major role in controlling cost of ophthalmic procedures, cost efficiency, and sales of a high quality standards with international market. Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry have been the pioneers of innovations in eye care, as I said. Vision centers using telemedicine to cater to a large sector of the population, diabetic retinopathy camps, especially the screen and the treat rural population who are at high risk, are some of the noteworthy innovations. Research, as was mentioned, certainly is an integral part of medicine. Eye care organizations in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry have been ceaselessly working towards making eye care available to all by developing and innovating new methods and strategies through research. This not only benefits us, but also exhibits Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry and thus India on the global forefront through internationally acclaimed publications and innovations. As a result of efforts taken by individuals in eye care organizations Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry, we are one of the states leading the drive for eye donations in India. As I was preparing for your evening today, I came across a very interesting blog by David Khorram, and I'd like to share with you something which has been said by my predecessors, speakers, particularly the emeritus professors and even the incoming president. And it is as follows. It said, generally we approach to disease focuses on the biological factors. We consider, for example, that an infection is caused by a bacterium and that treatment of the disease requires antibiotics. We administer antibiotics, and from a biological perspective, we have treated the disease. However, in the field of global health and global ophthalmology, we have seen that this approach is not sufficient because we are seeking to bring about equity in healthcare for all people. Factors beyond the biological come into play. Often, while we focus on the obvious biological issue, things run amok because of elements we have not considered. In the field of global health, we think then of disease not simply as biological process, but a biosocial process. The conditions that bring about inequity in eye care are wrapped up in history, culture, economics, politics, ethics, and a host of other factors. Ignore them and you end up spinning your wheels. Addressing a problem like cataract blindness has to take these multiple disciplines into account in order to address a problem of great magnitude and scale. To be effective, our approach has to be comprehensive and coherent and look beyond the biological. We know, for example, as he writes, that the majority of bilateral cataract blindness occurs in low-income countries and is closely linked to poverty. We can go to that country and operate on 50 people in a week, and it helps those people tremendously. Yet we don't get ahead of the problem unless we begin to ask, what causes cataract blindness beyond the biological? What historical, cultural, and political factors have led to this inequity? And how can we work to address those? Because unless we do, the problem persists. In order to address something like cataract blindness, one has to understand that it is not merely a biological disease, as he says, that needs a surgeon, but rather a biosocial disease that is brought forward by a broad range of social, political, environmental, ethical, and economic factors that need a coherent approach. So this is the appeal for more coherent approach while we treat, and he offers certain answers. Here is, for example, he says, for illustration, for several years, a group of ophthalmologists has been passionately involved with reducing cataract blindness in a low-income country, while for many years they would travel to that to perform cataract surgery. They recognized that more would be gained by training the local ophthalmologists to perform high-quality surgery. So they built a relationship with the government's teaching hospital and worked with the residents on a regular basis. That's a seemingly straightforward solution, and one that is fully in keeping with a broader approach of moving beyond the biological into the educational aspects of the problem. Such as they did so, some questions began to arise. Why in a country with a pretty healthy number of ophthalmologists were so few of them performing surgery? Why did it appear that a sizable number of the residents did not seem interested in learning surgery? These questions led to a deeper understanding of the problem of cataract blindness in this country. Cataract blindness is not only, as I said, biological disease, nor a disease that would be solved with education and training. As it turns out, bilateral contract blindness in this country, which is particularly in India, appears to be economic disease. The country's ophthalmologists have no way of getting paid to perform cataract surgery on the masses who need it. They do get paid for prescribing glasses. It is cost prohibitive for them to perform cataract surgery, so they focus their careers on dispensing glasses. Of course, the educational endeavors need to continue, but the truth is you can train every person in the country to be an outstanding cataract surgeon, but you will have no impact. You will have no impact on cataract blindness unless they go out and do surgery. And if ophthalmologists can't afford to do the surgery, they won't. So while it may seem that we can address cataract blindness by training cataract surgeons, we miss the mark unless we take a much broader view, recognizing that the problem and solution cannot be addressed unless things like healthcare, finance, and upstream issues like governance, ethics, corruption, and economics are also taken into account. Global ophthalmology looks beyond the biological causes of disease for the solutions, and thus practitioners of global ophthalmology often have a keen interest in understanding the social, cultural, historical, economic, ethical, and political aspects of disease and health, equity, and universality. I thought I would raise this presentation to another academic level. Friends, as I know what an important role you play, I experienced this in my own life. I remember my younger sister, just a year and a half younger to me. We were both in the same school, and in the class, in one of the classes, while I was in standard 2, she was in standard 1, she was just a year and a half younger. She would not be able to do her homework well. And the teacher used to come and wrap her up, saying, "Why are you not doing your homework properly? You are a lazy girl." So I remember she used to come and cry. My father also didn't understand why my sister could not do her homework properly. And soon enough, somebody came and said, "Why don't you get her eyes checked up?" And once she got checked up, it realized that she could not have read the blackboard, the whiteboard. So friends, this is what it is about. That the child suffered for no reason, and the parents did not understand why the child was falling behind. This is called cultural, social, economic, or otherwise. So friends, this is reaching out, as the earlier speakers have said, reaching out to the society on a regular basis, as Dr. Kalam also said. See, on one hand, you have to recover huge fees you paid to the deemed universities, huge fees. On the other hand, you also to serve the community for which you have. So it needs a striking balance. But when I get to meet those students who come back from these private institutions, They say we have to recover it all. How do we recover unless we have very highest recovery point? Well, you have to strike a balance. You need both. Continue to serve as a missionary to bring sight to the people, because that is, you are like a God, because even God did not make them see, which you through your hands and through your instruments will. On the other hand, you have to, it's like a balance of life. So I leave it to you as a very difficult choice. But I have had a remarkable bitter and sweet experience of what's happened here, not only here, it's across the country. I think across the country, it needs a balancing solution. And I think we are heading towards a balancing solution with times to come. We do hope a solution comes where any medical graduate passing out of any medical college, government or private, grows up to say, I have enough, I will receive enough, and I will earn enough. But whoever comes to me before me remembers me saying, thank God, God, you made doctors in our lives. Thank you very much.